A man named Christopher Lopez died in a Colorado prison called the San Carlos Correctional Facility. And he died because the guards didn't really care enough to get him medical help when he clearly needed it. So I'm going to show you a small clip here. This is from just before his death. Warning, this is hard to watch.
Right. Yeah. Look at this surgeon. It's the only way of getting better than the fishnet in the wall. I do he must have dropped the trousers, but. He's not going to do that for you, know that. No. Not for him, but maybe you. What can I say? I'll come good about that.
Head on a hard concrete floor, labored breathing, no shirt on, no pants on, clearly in pain. What was the response? He's also in chains. What was the response of the guards? They were laughing. They were having a casual discussion, nonchalant, back and forth. You hear them laughing, joking about whatever. There was like a 45-minute clip / almost a documentary made by these prison guard officers, these officials. And they were discussing how, oh, this guy has had so many behavioral problems and so many issues and this and that. Now, would you like to know the reality of it, which is why this is beyond frustrating? This flat out is unacceptable in the United States of America. This guy was a schizophrenic. He's a schizophrenic, and he died from something 100% preventable. He died because of a sodium deficiency from the psychotropic drugs that he was on to deal with his schizophrenia. So in other words, if it wasn't for the gross, over-the-top negligence of the people who were supposed to be doing their job, this guy would still be alive. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now, some people would fire back and say, hey, it might be a boy who cried wolf situation where this guy was causing problems before and he faked things before. Therefore, they thought he was faking again, so they reacted how they reacted. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit because the whole idea of criminal justice in a civilized country is supposed to be that we are above them. We are above them in the sense that we're not going to stoop down to the same level of morality and ethics as they possibly would be if they ran the prison. So you still get your medication if you need your medication. You still get medical care if we think even for a split second that you need medical care. This is 100% unacceptable. They didn't even have a fucking first aid kit. They didn't even have some water there next to him to try to help him out, to talk to him, to say, what's going on here? What exactly is wrong? They just had him on the ground, heavy labored breathing for 30 minutes plus, and then he died. I don't know how many times I've made this point on air, but I want to make it again because I think it's very, very important and it's overlooked. At some point when we do stories like this and when we have a situation like this after situation like this, what the guards need to understand is that at some point you become the criminal. You become the bad guy. Because I was reading about this earlier. Criminally negligent manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. That's what they did there. They're liable for that. They should. Some of them were fired. I think 3 of them were fired. 5 of them faced some disciplinary action. But as far as I know, none of them are brought up are going to trial. And I doubt that any of them would be convicted. But see, that's the problem. The problem is there's no accountability for them because they put themselves morally above the law. They say we're above the law because we are the law. So they can act like that and they think, oh, well, it was in good faith we fucked up. No, that wasn't in good faith. And the fuck up is just not something you could brush off. Somebody died in your custody when they didn't have to. It was easily preventable. You have to try not to become the demon that you're trying to avoid. And in this case, they have become that demon. And I'm sorry, but I think the punishment should be at least a year in jail. I don't know what the actual punishment is for involuntary manslaughter, but I'd be fine if these guys spent 5 years in jail, because you've lost your humanity when you act like that. It's an us versus them mentality. It's you don't view them as another human. You view them as this nuisance, this annoyance, where whatever they do is because they're bad, because they're evil. They don't have legitimacy. They don't have any credibility. And he had a mental illness. If there's anything that should make somebody immediately not take into consideration erratic actions, it would be if somebody has schizophrenia, which is arguably the worst mental illness. So they are the criminals in this case. The guards are the criminals in this case. And if we gave a shit about justice in any way, shape, or form in America, they would face punishment for what they did.